Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. So in this video we're going to cover the Extreme Z Legendary Awakening for the Strength Broly that's just come out today. I have managed to finish it, but we'll be going through a guide on how to do it, whether it's worth it or not, and just basically to go through that whole process. But before we begin, there is a legendary summon that's up. Obviously the featured unit, the featured LR is Broly. To be honest, I do not suggest summoning on this banner as a new player or as any player. Yes, there's only 6 featured units, which obviously gives you quite a decent chance at Broly. But first, completing Broly's EZA is tremendously difficult, especially for new accounts. And secondly, as much as Broly's worth it, I just don't know, with all the things coming around the corner, with Pakuhan and Gogeta and Janemba, the tickets that'll be available there, the global firsts that might come out, saving for anniversary. Just don't know if chasing a specific LR that's EZAing, which is again quite difficult, is going to be worth it for new players or even veteran players. But yeah, so we'll take a look. There is a special mission. It is completing stage 7. I don't know why that's a special mission when you have to get up to stage 10. And it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you need AGL units or hybrid Saiyans, and units with the legendary power link will do better. So that means LRs, LRs, LRs. You'll see the team that I start off with here is a AGL hybrid Saiyans based team. This team did alright up till about stage 7, and then it started to look a bit wonky, and then I changed up my team from there. I'm only really going to cover 3 stages. I'm going to cover stage 1, stage 4, and then stage 10. The reason I'm not covering stage 7 and 8 and 6 and all that is I felt like between stage 5 to 8 things were not that much more difficult, and it just basically was a continuation of what was happening before. But yeah, you'll also see me fail. You'll see the first team I choose I actually fail. I thought I would just try like AGL units and see how they perform. They did not perform very well at all. They got hammered right out the gate. So yeah, definitely something you want to keep in mind. I did end up finding out that not finding out, but I ended up experimenting, and it seems like the best team that I could muster up was a team that used Mystic Gohan as a friend lead, and then basically built a Goku's family team around that, consisting of Gobros as lead and the Agility Gohan sitting in the team. Now, units that would be very good that I don't have that could definitely help you out is obviously the Mystic Gohan. I think if you have him, obviously run him as the lead. The Future Gohan is also pretty good. He stacks defense and has damage reduction, so he also would be a decent unit to pull and use here. The new Trunks also will be pretty good. He stacks defense very, very high and supports hybrid Saiyan category class units, so you're definitely going to want to use him. Then probably the next best bet that you could use is obviously Movie Gohan as well. The LR Movie Gohan, the Tech LR Movie Gohan will be very, very good. You could also use the Goten and Trunks AGL LR. I have them. I have not invested much into them. In fact, I've barely even awakened them. So that is why I am not currently using them, but they are actually very good here. Due to the link and the typing, they actually don't take that much damage, and they can dish out quite a substantial amount. So they're pretty good. When they get their EZA, they're going to be quite an interesting unit, because a lot of people have been hating on them for a very long period of time. But yeah, they're going to have their uses, that's for sure. You'll see here that this tactic right now is failing dismally, and that's fine. It's good that you guys see that it takes me a while to figure out teams and things to use. I don't really like going onto the Reddit and taking a look at things, or trying to build things based on what other people have done. So sometimes I do fail first time up, either I overestimate some of the links or the way things work, or some of the requirements for stages, but yeah, that's okay, and it does happen. So as I was saying, those are going to be some of the units that you definitely can use for the stage. In terms of the units that I would suggest you take, obviously if you have the GoBros, definitely have them. You can use them as a lead. Pan is very, very good. Strength Pan. She can be annoying, especially in stage 10. When her 50% damage reduction does not kick in, it can become incredibly annoying. But overall, she's very, very, very reliable and does a significant amount of damage. A unit I don't suggest taking, but it's a shame, is the physical Gohan from the SBR, and his EZA from the ESBR. He's a great unit, but you can't put a Goku on the team because Goku cannot be used, so that's a bit of a problem. Another unit that I would suggest you take is the Caulifla, the Tech Caulifla, because Broly is a pure Saiyan. She is going to be able to dodge pretty much all the time, and by pretty much I mean definitely all the time, which is going to be a great help to you when you're trying to complete the stage, because it basically lets you avoid a large amount of Broly's damage. It means you don't have to find a tankier unit and can just run the main tanky lineups. The main lineups I would suggest if you are running double Mystic Gohans is Mr. Gohan and Gobros, and Mr. Gohan and maybe Pan in the second rotation. You can also put the Kamehameha Gohan on the main rotation as well. If you aren't running double Mr. Gohans, I do suggest Mr. Gohan and Gobros, and then suggesting the Pan alongside the LR Team Gohan here. And then yeah, you should be perfectly fine. As you can see, we do manage to get the deal done here. It is a shame that the Goten here does not have his awakening yet on the global. He would be a great addition to this team if you could run him with his full awakening, because he would just really buff things out. You could run him with a Trunks, and then you would get quite a bit of payout with them, but that's okay. You know, we don't need these type of things to pass by, so it's all perfectly fine. You could run this Trunks under a double Mr. Gohan lead, especially if you have the new Strength Trunks. Not only do they link great, but they also raise their defense so high to, you know, like 170,000 or something, that he's not really going to take damage from Broly. And that's going to basically allow you to have a free turn. He's not going to dish out massive damage, but the two of them together, it's really going to allow you to have a free turn basically. So yeah, but beyond that, that's really about it for the rotations. I do suggest taking maybe someone, if you're running a pure Hybrid Saiyans lead, I do suggest taking the Tech Transforming Trunks. Very similarly, these stages, especially stage 10, from around about stage 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the fights really start to get quite long. They start to take quite a few rounds and turns, so you're going to want to take units that can stack or heal or sustain you, because it's actually quite a long fight, especially if you don't have a couple dupes in your Gobros or your Gohan, or you don't have the movie Gohan as well. So you will be lacking some damage, as the LRs seem to be the only units that really dish out damage. Even units like Mystic Gohan, they lack in damage a little bit when performing in the stage. And not through the fact that they actually lack in damage, it's just that the dampening effects of the stage really take their toll on these units and affect how they perform. But yeah, there's a reason why I'm only showing 3 stages though, because like literally took like an hour and a half of doing all these stages, just because of how many freaking rounds and turns you had to do, especially with my first team build. Wasn't the most efficient at all, but that's okay. I tried out a couple things. I tried out Strength Gohan linked with Mystic Gohan. That does not work. He does alright when his guard activates if you have him rainbowed, but beyond that I definitely wouldn't suggest using him. The Strength World Tournament Team Gohan is actually very good. And you could definitely take him and use him, but I don't have him. But yeah, he's definitely one that I would suggest you take. In the Gotenks, yeah, he's also alright. You should be perfectly fine for that. I've cut through to stage 4 here when Broly transforms. You will see that the team is slightly changed up, but for the most part pretty much the same. This was the last time I used this team. Actually, I did change up afterwards just to make it a bit smoother. I would suggest changing your team up a lot earlier though. This team was a lot of pain using them up to like stage 6, so yeah. But yeah, so in terms of this ECA, I definitely don't think it is for new players. You're going to need at least 2 or 3 summonable LRs, those being the Gobros or the Team Kamehameha Gohan or the Movie Gohan. You're going to need at least one of those, and then you're also going to need at least one of the decent leads, mainly being the Mystic Gohan, because you can then run double Mystics. You should be alright. And also one of the better free-to-play LRs that you can use here is Pan, who also kind of requires a bit of effort and long-term preparation. I will probably do a video on Pan because I'll realize a lot of people probably don't know how to get Pan, so I'll do a video on Pan. But yeah, basically LRB Pan is going to be required, and she is not difficult to get, but she requires patience, especially now without the bonus that was up when she was first around. But yeah, so B-Pan is definitely needed, and because of that, and because maybe your only other free-to-play option is the LR Trunks, you're definitely going to be struggling if you are a new player, because you will have to either A, get really lucky on all the latest banners, which, you know, is fine if you did, that is fantastic, but you still probably need the LR Gohan, or you're going to need at least B-Pan or another LR or something. And then 2, obviously I don't suggest summoning on any of the current banners to try and get units for this, barring the Trunks. And because of that, that means your access to units is pretty limited right now that can take on the stage. And in terms of free-to-play units, it is a bit unfortunate, but there's not too many high-caliber free-to-play options barring B-Pan. So yeah, overall, definitely more difficult than I think a lot of people would have realized. I don't think it's impossible. It's definitely not. I think if you have Mr. Gohan, you can definitely come up with a plan. I think if you have Mr. Gohan, double Mr. Gohans, B-Pan, maybe the Strength Gohan Teen from the World Tournament, I think then you have enough tankier cards that you can run to make the stage a bit easier. Maybe the Strength Goten as well. Floating, I did use him. He was very helpful in generating rainbow orbs, but mine is rainbowed, so he did tank okay. He took a big chunk from supers, like 172,000, but I mean, yeah, it is just one of those things. So here we are, stage 10. You will notice the extreme change in the team, and the extreme change in the length of the stage. So we're going to change the team up slightly. You will see this Movie Kid Gohan drop out. He was a decent option for sure, but he eventually ends up just tanking, taking way too much damage, and his evasion doesn't kick in often enough in 3rd slot. So we drop him out because he was not a great choice there. And then we switch her with the Mystic Gohan friend, who's going to link up great first turn with the Gobros, which is very lucky. They're going to get all in the family, which is really going to help them defensively. And then we're going to have the Goten come in and just kind of float. We get very lucky. You're going to need to try a couple times because you're going to need a bit of luck unless you have dupes. The main reason being is, Broly can still do a large amount of damage. If he supers Go Bros, that's 170k. Even when they're fully built up, it's still over 100k. Goten also very similarly, 170k, even if he's fully built up. B-Pan, if she doesn't activate her guard, is taking 270,000, which, is a lot. If she doesn't activate her guard, she takes like 70k a hit. And then the Kamehameha Gohan, he takes a decent amount. He doesn't take too bad. I don't have him fully SA'd, so he could be rainbowed, and him being rainbowed would add a substantial amount to his defense. Would add like maybe another 20%. So he would be okay defensively, but yeah, he definitely still has his weaknesses, for sure. And then but so there's still enough units on here that getting supered is not going to result in us having a good time, and the recovery of health is just not going to be high enough overall. Obviously, the Caulifla cannot take damage, which is the one true perk of Caulifla, so that does help us there, and that's ultimately why we win the stage, because we get supered a couple times on the Mr. Gohan, and then Caulifla dodges a lot of damage. That allows Gobros to build up, that allows Gohan to build up, that allows the Kamehameha Gohan to build up, it allows B-Pan to kind of settle in and get healing on rotation. It allows the Goten that's floating to get one or two super attacks off. Basically, it just really helps us in reducing the amount of damage we're taking, which is, very necessary at this stage. And then once, obviously, the Mr. Gohan builds up, once Cobras build up, once Kamehameha Gohan builds up, then you sit at the point where you now gain enough health back on orbs that you're not sitting in too dangerous a position. So that is kind of the situation where we're at. You can see me here just kind of juggling around the units to just deal with whoever's taking the most damage or tanking the most attacks. Generally try to stick B-Pan in the way of as many attacks as possible. Yes, so there's a little bit of a gamble if her damage reduction doesn't kick in, but if it does kick in, she won't get you killed, which is obviously very, very good. There's the Kamehameha Gohan. He does obviously pretty good. He's a great source of damage. He builds up every turn defense, but also his attack because of his passive. So even though we can't get his transformation, he still ends up doing quite a substantial amount of damage, being type advantage and everything like that. B-Pan, you're really gonna kind of want to hope for crits. B-Pan obviously heals up 30% of whatever she damages out, but yeah, as you can see, if she doesn't activate damage reduction, she basically loses everything that she gains you. But I mean, yeah, that is part of the deal. As you can see here, this is probably my weakest rotation. You can see me kind of sitting with what is the best way to solve the situation. I go with most green orbs on Mr. Gohan. The reason for this is obviously I'm just trying to get as much health back as possible, which I know may seem counterintuitive because obviously you might want the ultra attack from the Gobros, but at the end of the day I have to decide that Mr. Gohan's defense is going to be way higher, so he's going to heal up way more from the orbs, which is going to help us a lot more in the long run. As you can see though, Gobros luckily are at the stage where they have stacked enough that they are going to be tanking the normal attacks, which is very, very good. And we didn't get supered on them, which would have killed us, so it does give us another turn to kind of set in the rotations. We get very lucky here in that we get Caulifla back online, so what we can do is we can just drop in Caulifla, give her as little orbs as possible, which is obviously very fortunate. Then we can run Gohan, who won't die from a super attack, and we can run the Goten, who should, barring getting supered where he will take like 200k almost, he will be perfectly fine. That third slot he won't take too much damage, Caulifla, we are fortunate, just basically, sits there like a rock. And then we gain some health back by getting AGL orbs with Gohan, and he's going to do some decent damage. So at this point we're sitting okay. As I said before, it's really difficult because you can sometimes just get supered right off the bat on the units you don't want to get supered on, and then you're just going to be sitting in an unhealthy position moving forward throughout the fight, constantly on the back foot, because you don't have items to help you out. But if you do manage to set in your rotations, you generally will come out okay. That's just because obviously once the rotations are set in, you don't have to panic too much about anything else. Mr. Gohan, like I say, will tank really, really well. The Go-Bros, once they get their defense up, won't die from normals. And then because of that, we can kind of survive the super attacks because we build up enough health back. Especially if B-Pan can activate her damage reduction against every attack and just kind of get off her super attack. But you can see there, just juggling the orbs as best I can and trying to get some healing back. This will kill us if she does not get her damage reduction, because it would have done 270k, but it does not do 270k. Pan gets her damage reduction. I think she gets it every single time this turn, and because of her augmented attack damage, she actually manages to do quite a significant chunk of damage, and now we're starting to gain some health back. Obviously, as the Go-Bros build up, they're going to take him out, and once you get to like the final third, if you have about half your health remaining, you should be okay. You just basically need to always have enough health that you can't die from the super attack from Broly on like Bro 10, or on the on Go-Bros, or on the Kamehameha Gohan, the AGL Kamehameha Gohan, not the teen, the family Kamehameha one. So here we go, Caulifla doing a thing, serving us a lot of damage. There's very few other hybrid Saiyans, barring maybe like the Strength World Tournament Gohan, that could just sit there and basically just be a battering ram. And then we get our Dokkan attack at the perfect time, and we can't die this turn because Mr. Gohan and allow Kamehameha Gohan. He's going to do some decent damage, and then that's going to leave us with full health, and we're going to be able to take on the next round with full health, which gives us a little bit of a safety buffer. Obviously we don't want to take any super attacks on anyone. We don't have to, but we can't control that, so it's very, very, very good that we get some health back. You're going to need to get your Dokkan attack if you are running with a team similar to this. Unless you have dupes and everything, your damage is just not going to be there to kill them before the Dokkan attack. So yeah, or if you have Movie Gohan, maybe you can, but yeah, otherwise, other than that, you're definitely just stuck trying to do as much damage as possible. So there we gain some health back. We're going to have B-Pan hopefully get a crit. If B-Pan gets a crit, you can heal back quite a substantial amount, because obviously she crits, she will deal pure damage, which will then allow us to get quite a bit of health back. Her damage reduction activated again. That was very clutch. Those two supers on her with the damage reduction activating are the reason why we got the win. And then the Go-Bros, now that they are like fully built up, are starting to do a very large chunk of damage, which is great, because now that means that we are more in control of the fight than we needed. Nice little crit there by Goten. See, he's taking 30k per hit, which is obviously quite a bit, but because he floats, he can generally be okay. Now also this Mr. Gohan, we're going to transform just for the extra damage. He's stacked more than enough. He won't be taking any damage from anything. And yeah, I mean, we can watch out like the longest transformation in the game pretty much. But yeah, so now he's built up enough stacks, we're just going to transform him, just to basically get that effective against all types, and just increase his damage slightly, and that's about it really. There's no like other reason for anything. We could leave him to continue building stacks and then obviously transform him later on, but we're nearing this stage of the fight where that extra little bit of damage is probably going to come in clutch, and just help us get rid of this Broly a little bit faster. Obviously it would be nice for him to take a hit beforehand, because then his damage basically doubles, but this is more than okay. I think he gets a crit here, or he crits here, one of them. But yeah, this Gohan is very clutch for this event. If you have him, you always have a chance, especially if you can run two of them. It's basically like having two brick walls. I mean, if you can run two of him, Pan and Caulifla, you essentially should have enough brick walls and healing options that you should be able to eventually whittle down this fight here. And then here at this point I kind of knew we were safe, mainly just because obviously the AGL Gohan, he can just sit and take the first round of damage, and between him and the Gobros they would have finished it off. But the Gobros finished off their active skill. So yeah, it was pretty tough, but yeah, you need to finish up to stage 10 and then you can awaken Broly, who we'll check out in the review video. But yeah, good luck guys, I hope this helps, and I will check you guys in the next one. But until then, bye!